All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. God bless you all in the name of Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah. I do pray everybody is super blessed. Hope everyone's having a great weekend, even in the midst of this market chaos. We got to give a major shout to everybody in the chat. Major shout out to THR Tiger. Why live not started? Well, I guess I was a little bit late, man. Major shout out to Crypto Coons holding it down with the wrench. My man, Michael Saylor. It might make a short squeeze, baby. A lot of liquidity forming above 80,000 USD. Shout out to Crypto Hub LLC, Casper Crew in the house, baby. Major shout to the Casper Crew community. We got to shout out Red Elephant. We got to shout out Waldemir Gutierrez. I'm sorry that I can't pronounce your name. Will we fill the wick after the CME gap close? I do feel in the bones that indeed we might have a little bit of a wick fill. A quick slick of the wick. A quick slick of the wick. Fill it up real quick. My name is Sticky Rick. Shout out to Rick the Stick, aka Rick Del Hagen. Gotta give a major shout to Eric Bugenhagen. Gonna have a quick slick of the wick. Fill up the stick. Yeah. Look, I think it's very possible. I personally... The fact that we made that low on a Saturday makes me very cautious. I don't think that the low is in yet, to be honest with you. Or, you know, I'm waiting until Sunday. I'm sorry, waiting till next week. Well, this week, later this week, to you know, get some, I would say, an actual setup. Major shout out to my man Vlad. He says, "Hola, bro. Head and shoulder did its work, baby." Shout out to OT51151. And shout out to the altcoin ape. He says, "Nice cut, G. Thanks, bruh." Shout out to Drumhop TV. Jason, can you hook me up with the barber? Absolutely, bro. His name is, his name's Jeff. His name's Jeff. Shout out to MTL Sandman. Hi and gold. And God bless in Jesus the Messiah. Amen, bro. Major shout to J-Boy Bullish. Major shout to Larry Garcia. Looks like you're back in the band, baby. Man, we're always in the band. We're keeping it rolling, baby. Bill Gates is guilty. Is that an actual thing? Yeah, no way to invest today, man. Look, this is the winter. In the winter, it's kind of like my rehab period, okay? I don't wear the weighted vest in the winter. The winter is the time for me to take it easy, baby. Take it easy, you know? Take it easy, baby. Shout out to New Earth Guardian. Yo, God bless Jason, God bless you. Everyone is saying the CME gap will fill, says Sammy White. Which means it won't likely happen until further downside. Yeah, we'll see, we'll see. Hillary Clinton is guilty too? Is this... I haven't been paying attention to the news at all. I highly doubt that Hillary Clinton will ever be charged with anything. I highly doubt Bill Gates will ever be charged with anything. What's going on with the hair? I'm just letting it grow wild, man. Bill Gates got an STD from a Russian girl, says New Earth Guardian. Is that true? I haven't been paying attention to Bill Gates and the various STDs that he acquires. Alright. Last I heard, he got a pie in the face, okay? This market is pegging us harder than a USD stablecoin. LOL. Where's the CME gap? Hard for crypto. It's to the upside, all right? It's to the upside. We're gonna be getting into it, guys. I'm currently chilling right now in a short trade on Bitcoin, up $20,000, up 20K right now. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? From the setup given in the Casper Crew VIP Discord in advance, we're currently chilling in the green, baby, if you know what I mean. So, that's pretty wild. Pretty dang wild, man. So, man. From the top of the range, we're making mad change from the top of the range. Making change from the top of the range. Major shout out to Crypto Tom. Shout out to Warren McCarty. Finally, some price action. Seriously, right? I have to be honest. I love. Why is everyone talking about the Epstein files? Did they get leaked or something? Did they get leaked or something? Why is everyone talking about this right now? I haven't been paying attention at all to like this kind of stuff. BBL Hotline says the powers of the world are satanic Luciferians, blackmailers, a ring of power and control that are embedded in the deepest pockets of society. Now that I agree with. Doc the Goat says the Epstein files are a paranoid meth head's dream come true. So much crap in there. Some of it's just made up methery for sure. What shampoo do I use for my hair? Here's the thing, you don't ever wash dreadlocks. You don't ever wash dreadlocks. Yeah, I'm trade. This short is Antarctic. Antarctic. Guys, we do have a lot to talk about. It is the first day of February. It is the last day of the week. We're about to have a weekly close tonight on Bitcoin. We just had a monthly close. Shout out to TTT Top 2030. Will we sweep 74? To be honest, I think yes. That is my next target is 74. All right. I'll be honest. I am in a long trade here. I have taken a long from the back test, like just in case we come for the highs at 79.4, potentially up to 81.1. Okay, let's pop into the chart. I'll kind of walk you guys through what I'm looking at right now. Make sure to smash up the likes. Is that hair real? Of course it's real. This is YouTube. Everything on YouTube is real, especially when it comes to YouTube traders. YouTube traders on YouTube. I mean, those traders on YouTube, man, everything's totally real. They don't ever rent fancy cars or fancy penthouses to make themselves look rich and successful so that you buy their courses. It's all real, baby. And this hair is as real as it gets. Oh my goodness. You can smell it. Give it a smell right now. Open up your nostrils. Open up those nostrils, baby, and give it a whiff, and you'll know for certain that this hair is the real deal, baby. Haven't used shampoo ever in my life. Hang on, let me make myself a little bit bigger here. Let's pop on into the charts, guys. Smash up the likes as usual. If we get 1,000 likes, we will be giving away 1,000 USDT. Now, here's the thing, guys. These are the trades I've been taking. All right, the last few days, the last week, pretty much on Bitcoin. Obviously, this doesn't include the $36,000 short that from the top. But yeah, so basically, these are the positions I've pretty much been trying to long on the way down. I had one loss. The rest are small wins. I'm basically considering this just chop city kind of break-even nonsense. This right here is the current long trade I'm in. So here's the deal. We have come down to, basically, is this better be a stop. Yeah, that's a stop. We have come down to almost the bottom of the range here. Okay, let's take a look. We have taken out the $80,500 target that we had on Friday, and we are right now in no man's land. All right. Now, the only reason we would bounce from here is because of this. All right. Let me just move this line over here. Do you see this here on the chart? All right. Let me just make this a little bit larger for us here. All right. This low that we made back here in March 13th, 2025, potentially could offer us some support here. All right. That's the only level that we have right now that we could be bouncing from. Other than that, we pretty much have nothing. Now, there's two things that we don't like about this low so far. Thing number one is the fact that it happens over a weekend on a Saturday. Okay. Saturday lows cannot be trusted. If the low does happen to come in on a Saturday or Sunday, typically we get another chance. Either we fill the wick, or we do get a change of structure, we get a back test, right? I cannot think of a time where we made a significant high or low, and I'm sure there are times, but I just can't think of one. Because even this low, guys, back here, if you remember, because I remembered, because this was one of the epic trades that I took, we came down, right? This happened on the 7th of April. Let me actually see something real quick here. I just want to see the 7th of April. If I'm not mistaken, That was a, okay, that was a Monday. But we came for the back test here. And then in June, I remember the June low, this happened on a Sunday. If I'm not mistaken, this one happened on a Sunday. And then that Monday, we came down for the back test as well. Right? June 22nd, 23rd. I might be mistaken. I'm going on my memory. Let's see. Let me see if I was right. Yeah, I was right. Okay, so June 22nd was on a Saturday. All right, so I do remember that well. Like, this low happened on the weekend. Then we come down for the back test. All right, so a lot of times you do get the opportunity to come for the back test, okay? But now that we have come all the way down here, and the fact that we haven't seen a fake out of 80,005, because the one scenario that we were looking at for Bitcoin was lose this level and then get the fake out, get the daily candle close above. Well, obviously, we had the daily candle close way below, and now we're even a few hours away from having the weekly candle close below, right? So let's go to our weekly time frame. Look at this. We're going to have the weekly candle close below. All right, so that's definitely not a good look. Obviously, if we're trading back up above 80,500, then we can start to look for a move back up higher. But for right now, we don't have that. For right now, we don't have that. All right. And so it just makes the most sense to me that we do now come for the liquidity down here at the bottom of the range at 74,457. Now, when we do come down for this, I do expect a significant retracement to the upside. And again, if this is just a glorified fake out here that's happening over a weekend and we start trading back up here, I do expect some significant movement to the upside. All right, and I'm going to talk about why. Enough for a good long trade at least. I don't think we're going to fall through this area like a knife through hot butter. I don't think so. Anything's possible in trading, but I don't think that that's the case. All right. So let's pop over to our Bitcoin chart here and take a look at what's going on. All right. We'll go to our monthly time frame. We have a brand new monthly candle that just opened up here after the January candle. Now, this January candle, let's not forget, this is a pretty bearish looking candle. The reason is because we came to the POC of this macro range that we've been trading since November 2024, right? So over a year of price action, you can see that we wick right into that key zone and get a monthly close now below value area low. This is a very, very bearish monthly candle, all right? This is not what we want to see for more upside. All right, this is why we were looking for that key area, right? The macro POC that we had here at the time at 96.3. You could see, can you see that? I don't know, actually, hang on. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you could see that. You can see that, yeah. We've got this right here, that 96.3 level. This is a key make it or break it zone where if we reject, we look for a lower low. And that's pretty much exactly what's happening now, right? We've rejected, we've gotten the lower low. All right, we've got the trade running, baby. And so now it's coming to the point where we need to be basically, I'd say, keeping our eyes on two things. Number one, coming down below here for a fake out. Remember, this level down here, 74,000, super, super key. Because not only is it the low we made in April, it's also the high we made in March of 2024. And if you remember, back in April, I myself was waiting for us to tap 73,951, but we never did. You could see that wick. We front ran it. We just front ran the level here. And so, in my opinion, that is some unfinished business. And it would be very interesting to come down and hit into that area. Now, we go to our weekly time frame here, and you can see that what we need to really be aware of now, assuming that we are going to take the low at 74,000, is the volume of this previous range, okay? Right now, the area that I kind of have on my radar the most is this area right between the high volume node and the value area high of that previous range. All right. Now, also, I'm just curious here. I'm going to pull a fib from that low we made in January up to here. Let's pull the fib from the low that we made back in August 2025. Okay, wow. Okay, wow, guys. So, I mean, my goodness. Look at this. The Fibonacci golden pocket is literally right in this area here where we have the previous range value area high and that point of control. A very nice confluence, just under $70,000. All right, 68 to 70,000. Very nice confluence. So I feel like it, because again, when we have the weekly this oversold, even in the midst of a bear market, I've never seen us print this oversold wave and then just come straight down. I've never seen that. We need some kind of real retracement, and everybody was expecting the retracement here, and now everyone's wrecked, right? So what better way to wreck even more people than now do a bear trap, come back in, and then continue in our downtrend, right? This would give us now the real head and shoulders. All right, this is the fake head and shoulders right here, in my opinion. All right, I don't consider this a shoulder. All right, definitely the left deltoid is massive here. The right deltoid needs some work. All right. So this is kind of what I'm interested in right now, right? I'm interested in a bear trap, and I'm interested in a move to the upside. Now, I don't know how high that move to the upside is going to be, but at least enough to give us a good long trade, right? That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Because again, on the daily time frame, you know, we are seeing the bullish money flow. Even though we're crossing back into the purple right now, the purple money flow here and then the purple money flow here is bullish, right? One word of caution, however, is the fact that, you know, the bullish divergences on market Cipher B will be invalidated if we get a wave below negative 81.2. But even still, I would expect some relief dipping below 70,000. I would expect some relief dipping below 70,000. Definitely going to be interested, very interested in long from this zone here. All right. I just think it's really nice. It's a really nice confluence. Again, remember, we have this previous range here from February 2024 all the way until November 2024. Most of that volume traded at 67.4. We've got the Fibonacci golden pocket retracement. And we've got this liquidity from April, right? A really nice zone. So that's kind of where I'm interested if we get that move to the downside. Now, if we don't get the move to the downside, that's fine. All right. Again, for me, right now, I'm going to assume lower unless we actually close a daily candle above 80,500. We close a daily candle above 80,500. Then I will be looking for longs above 80,500, right? So, you know, obviously, except for this long I'm in now, like obviously there's low time frame setups, right? Like this setup here, this long trade I'm in right now is a low time frame setup based on making the low, making the high, coming down to the Fibonacci golden pocket local, and getting a little bit of a bounce. Now, it's not a very high probable setup here, okay? But I figure if we're going to have a Sunday squeeze, we could see that squeeze come up to like 81K. Right, or at the very least 79.5 towards 81K before we make the low again, just to maintain this bearish market structure. Right, we're lower lows and lower highs here, so I would expect we could get a little bit of something from here, and then make another low. But in general, as for swing trades go, like I'm not really interested in much else for a swing trade, unless A, and this is preferred, we lose 73.9. And preferably get a bounce from around this zone. Or B, we wake up tomorrow and we're closing the Monday candle here, and then we can look for a back test of that, right? We could basically say, okay, we had our low, we had our fake out, we have our back test, and then we could look for a move up to around the top of the range at like 98.99, right? But until that happens, I'm going to assume lower is more probable now. I do want to take a look at the order flow on Bitcoin. And again, guys, just a quick reminder, I'm trading on, first of all, on KCEX, lowest fees, 0% limit order, 0.01% market order fee here. It's unbeatable. All right, it's literally unbeatable. I'm also trading on ANTARCTIC decentralized exchange, the DEX. Now on the DEX, they're offering Jason Casper the lowest fees, period. You can't get lower fees than this on ANTARCTIC unless you use my link. 0% limit, 0.015% market. No DEX is offering this low fees. Then, of course, I am trading on BLOFIN. BLOFIN is offering extremely low fees as well. 0.02% market order. Again, this is only for the Jason Casper people, all right? This is the stuff BLOFIN's offering in addition to the low fees. All right, I'm still in the silver trade that I took live on Friday. I've obviously taken profit because, you know, we basically came up to my target one, and that was good enough for me on a Friday before market close. It's like, all right, let me take my profit before market close. And then, yeah, I'm letting the rest kind of sizzle, baby. Also, guys, if you want to join the community where we give the trade setups in advance, you can go to jasoncaspertrading.com, click the link to join the community. All right, make sure to check it out. Now, Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the order flow here and see what's been happening over the weekend with the actual orders here. This is silver. I want to take a look at Bitcoin. We will be looking at silver. We will be looking at gold. My goodness, this is just flatness on silver. I have a lot to say about silver as well. I do. We're going to talk about silver and gold because it's going to be getting crazy. All right, Bitcoin, we want YUBIT inverse perpetual here. Okay, so I do have to say that we have extremely bearish order flow right now, okay? Let's take a look at what has happened here since, really, the 18th of January. All right, guys, so this is the order flow chart. This is Market Monkey. This right here, this entire chunk of price action has been characterized by an increase of open interest. All right, this is the open interest. This is telling us are traders opening or closing positions. When this stuff gets higher, that means traders are opening positions. All right. So we know that since the 18th of January, traders have been opening new positions on Bitcoin. All right. New positions on Bitcoin. Now, what direction are those trades? Are they long or short? This is called CBD. This is telling you what direction are traders opening their trades in, long or short. Well, when it gets lower, that's telling you that the traders are opening short. So since the 18th of January, we have seen millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, and this is only on YUBIT, by the way, guys. This is not even aggregate. Let me actually put on aggregated. It's pretty much the same. But we'll put on spot, futures. We'll put on everything here. All right. Same deal. It's getting lower. This is spot, futures, and everything. All right. Futures. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in general, still, now that everything's on, we can still see from that time an increase of open interest and a decrease of CBD. So this is bearish order flow. This is showing us that the bears are definitely in control, right? And I trust the YUBIT, by the way. The YUBIT CBD and open interest is the one I actually use to trade. So the bears are definitely in control here. Now, right now, as we're coming down to the local golden pocket retest, we are seeing what I would consider some very local, maybe bullish CBD here. Like we are seeing a lot of shorts opening up, and yet we're holding support here. So this could open us up, guys, for a local short squeeze to the upside. Again, which is why I'm in the long right now. Either to take the liquidity that we made at these highs, right, before coming down to make a lower low, or to come up to the support resistance flip that we have up here at around, that's going to be around 81. All right, that's kind of all I'm looking for right now is 79.5, target number 1, to 81. All right, so that's what I'm looking for right now. The order flow, it makes that possible. Now let's take a look at market cipher B. All right. Again, the daily time frame, if we print a green dot here, that could, that could push us above 80.5. 4-hour time frame. There is some bullish divergence here. Let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, so the 1 hour is giving us some anchor trigger action. The 24-minute anchor trigger action. Okay, so the 24-minute, when this happens, where we see this money flow curving up, the momentum waves curving up, we make a big, scary bottom, and then we get a retest. This typically means we are going to see a little bit of upward action, but then we're going to make another low. Right? Typically, that's what that means. Like what I see on Market Cipher right now with the money flow and everything, it makes me think we get a little bit of up and then another low. Very similar to what happened here, guys. Look what happened here. We made that first low. We had the big bottom, right? We see this money flow starting to cross. We have the trigger wave at the retest. We get a little bit of up, and then we come for another low. Like, that's kind of what I'm expecting here, okay? Again, guys, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I could be totally wrong about this. Remember, if you don't know how to trade, please don't trade on any of these exchanges. But what you should do if you don't know how to trade is go to a website called youtube.com, all right? Go to a website called youtube.com and check out the Jason Casper YouTube channel. All right. Go to playlists. Go to the free course. All right. Go to the free course. 18 sessions for free. All right. This will teach you all the stuff you need to know. Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of what I expect on the BTC, baby. BTC. All eyes on me. Now, guys, we got some interesting news as well. First of all, Bitcoin is breaking below 80K. Signals new crisis of confidence, according to Bloomberg. This article I thought was super interesting because it agrees with my personal analysis here, which I don't know, is that good or bad? When Bloomberg agrees with me, I don't know. That's actually kind of bad. But anyway, the analysts in this article are predicting a prolonged downturn, with one estimating it could take another 6 to 9 months before a meaningful recovery takes hold, and another warning that Bitcoin may not see another all-time high for 1,000 days. This is exactly what I have been saying, right? Because of the 2-month bearish divergence, we're expecting the bottom in the summer, fall, and then we enter into another bull market, right? And that bull market will top out probably in 2029, about 3 years, right? So that's literally exactly what I am expecting, and this is just going based upon the typical 4-year Bitcoin cycle, right? Now, this is something we should take note of here, which is the fact that Bitcoin has failed to respond to geopolitical stress, dollar weakness, or risk rallies, and has seen fading demand and thinning liquidity. I think this right here is the real elephant in the room. You know, why is Bitcoin so weak right now, even though you would assume during geopolitical tensions, wars, rumors of wars, the de-dollarization of the world, the Federal Reserve basically easing fiscal policy with rumors and everybody pretty much assuming rate cuts to continue, which obviously is really bad for the dollar, right? Why is Bitcoin struggling so much? Well, in my opinion, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I think it's just because of the 4-year Bitcoin cycle, which so far has proven to be true every single time, right? So, yeah, let's see what happens here. Something else that's actually quite interesting is this. The first U.S. bank collapse of 2026 adds to the gold, silver, and Bitcoin chaos, while $33.7 billion in unrealized contagion looms. The closure of Metropolitan Capital Bank coincides with a violent global sell-off that has traders fearing broader contagion. So late on Friday, Illinois regulators shut down Metropolitan Capital Bank and Trust, a little-known institution with just $261 million in assets. You know, just $261 million for a bank that is pretty small. Handing control over to the FDIC in what was officially a routine resolution. But it landed in the middle of a much louder market shock. On the same day that this bank failed, gold and silver saw one of their sharpest one-day plunges in decades, and Bitcoin sold off sharply amid the broader rush out of the risk. 24 hours later, and the markets that are open over the weekend are almost in free fall. Okay, so this is, this is very interesting. When banks fail, man, again, this is just a very small institution. But the reason why this is so interesting is because the Federal Reserve, they have two tools in their toolbox. They can either tighten or they can loosen, right? They can either raise or cut interest rates. When they raise interest rates, it's good for the dollar on paper, but it's bad for banks. It causes banks to collapse, and really the only way to fix that problem is to cut interest rates and basically add to the balance sheet, aka print money. That'll allow the banks to have new liquidity coming in so that they don't have to fail, but it pushes inflation up like crazy. Now, when you start to see banks failing, this is a big warning sign, and it means that, well, the Fed needs to print again. Now, I know this is just a very small bank, and this article is taking advantage of a localized situation that happened, but it is very interesting just to remember that, the whole fiat system is this delicate house of cards that, you got your tightening and your loosening, and you can't really fix the problem. You can only kick the can down the road. And so, this is not a mega bank. This is not a viral bank run or anything. But it is interesting that this happened in the midst of such a crazy market crash. All right, just be prepared for some serious volatility. And speaking of the gold and silver crash, we do need to talk about gold and silver. All right, so gold, guys, this is nuts. But essentially, we have seen gold get a massive move to the downside on Friday. Let's start on our monthly time frame because we do have a brand new month. Now, again, this market will open tonight. All right, this market will open tonight. Actually, let me see. Can we see gold futures? Is gold futures trading on Sunday? No. No. All right. So yeah, tonight this gold market will open. Now, there's a few things we need to really pay attention to. First of all, it's going to be a new monthly candle. All right. This, technically speaking, is not the most bullish looking candle for gold in the world. Half of it's a wick to the upside, no wick to the downside. All right, let's go to the weekly candle. This weekly candle, technically speaking, is a shooting star, right? Big wick to the upside, purple candle close. Technically speaking, this is a bearish candle, okay? Let's come to the daily. This is where things get really juicy. Where did gold actually come down to, right? Well, if you notice, we have this gap on the chart that goes back to Friday, January 16th. 2026. We have a gap here. We close that Friday at 4,596, and then that next Monday we open up here at the price of 4,649. All right, so we basically have gotten a massive move down, and this is, in my opinion, this is a very important gap here because if we take a look at this trend line, we just kind of connect these tops, right? Gold had broken out of, in my opinion, what is a very significant trend line here, right? So not only do we break out, but we break out with a gap. We had this ascending channel here. Okay, so this is a very important ascending channel, ascending parallel channel. We get the big breakout. Now we're coming down to a very, very important level of support. All right, this is a gap. I would be very, very interested to see what happens tomorrow for gold. Could we continue down? Yes, we could. But this is a very interesting area that I think we could get a little bit of a bounce from, even in the event of more downside. Let's go ahead. I'm just curious to see, do we have any kind of fib confluence here? Now I'm going to pull from the bottom of this channel. It's at our 0.5 Fibonacci retrace. Wow. Yeah, so we got our 0.5 Fibonacci retrace there, our 50% retrace. All right, 50% retrace from the low in October. The low in October, 50% retrace. We have a gap that will fill, and we're coming to back test this very important area from the breakout of the channel, right? In fact, even if we pull the trend line farther, we can acknowledge the fact that a big wick down to here and then a reclaim, that actually would look pretty bullish. I'm not saying we're going to shoot to a $6,000 gold right now. In fact, in my opinion, I think we're probably going to see precious metals start to consolidate a little here after such a big blow off top. You can't expect that kind of stuff to continue. My personal view is that we are going to see a range form, right? A sideways range form. It could be something similar to this ascending channel, like it might be a bullish range, or it could be something similar to what we saw, last year, where we basically trade sideways with clearly defined highs and clearly defined lows, like we saw over here, right? But most of the time, assets trade sideways. So as we're coming back down here, I do think this is an interesting area. Now, I do want to look at market Cipher B. Let's put on the weekly. So the weekly, technically speaking, could actually print our first bearish divergence here, right? That is a pretty bearish looking candle. If we get the red dot confirmed, that is our first bearish div of this gold uptrend. The daily does not have bearish divergence. Does not have bearish divergence. 4-hour time frame. Okay, so here's where things get nice looking. Okay. Wow. Okay, so we are printing right now on the 4-hour time frame a deep momentum wave. Okay. This deep momentum wave, as long as the price of gold doesn't dip below $4,500, this is a bullish continuation pattern on the 4-hour time frame, known as a hidden bullish divergence. All right. So this could be a zone of interest. This is definitely a zone of interest for me for a bounce to the upside. Now, here's the thing. When we get the bounce to the upside, we need to be aware of the fact that this is a massive drop. Now, I'm bullish on gold long term. Don't get me wrong. I've been big into gold since before I was into crypto. I'm not just saying that because it's hot right now. The only reason I'm into crypto is because I'm into gold. But I would say this, just be aware when we get our bounce, be aware of making a lower high, okay, and continuing in a downtrend. Right now, major resistance for gold is going to be at $5,000. This is where we have the highest volume node from the breakout of this channel. Okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean? It means ever since we broke out of $4,500, the majority of the buying and selling happened at the price of $5,000. A lot of people were taking profits. A lot of people were buying. So what does this mean? It basically means people who bought at $5,000 are now in the red, and so they will want to exit at break even if the price comes back to $5,000, right? And so that's going to be a resistance for us now. Potential lower high to potentially come back down into this channel toward the Fibonacci golden pocket, which can be around $4,400. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. What I'm saying is I'm looking for a bounce. And would I hope that gold goes to 6,000? Yeah, of course. But I understand that this is a very big impulse to the downside that happened very quickly, and it could be the beginning of a downtrend. So therefore, we should be aware of key resistances to the upside where we can see a rejection. Obviously, 5,000 is going to be a very big, not only a psychological level, because keep in mind here, we're dealing with an asset that has just gone up in the last few months of about 30%. Nobody was imagining gold surpassing $5,000 like this, a few months ago. When gold's trading at $4,000 an ounce, I mean, everyone, I'm sure, I'm not saying nobody was expecting it, but when things like this happen so quickly, where you get such a big move, like straight up like that, and you have a big impulse to the downside, a lot of times it could just be the beginning of a larger downtrend or a larger consolidation. So we do just need to be aware of the potential rejection from 5,000, very psychological number, to make a lower low. All right, so those are pretty much my main areas I'm watchful on gold right now. Is either a dip down to around 4,006, fill that gap that we have from January 16th, and then I'm keeping my eyes on the $5,000 level. Again, that's our 50% Fibonacci retrace. You know, the 50% is not a Fibonacci number, but a lot of times that 50% retrace is where we retrace to. Right, that's going to be between 5,000 and 5,100. And then major support for me is obviously going to be the golden pocket zone. That's going to be coming in around 4,004. Yeah, keep your eyes on this parallel channel as well, right? Because again, acceptance back inside the channel could mean a move back down to the bottom of the channel, and that would take us to our golden pocket, right? That would take us right to our golden pocket. Again, if you don't understand all this stuff that I'm talking about, check out the free course on my YouTube channel. It's totally free. All right. So this could be the beginning of some downside for gold, for silver as well, for copper as well. Yeah, but those are the areas I'd be most interested in. And I'm definitely now, for the first time since I started trading gold futures, which is very recent, I'm looking for shorts, right? I'm looking for shorts because we have officially taken a lot of this liquidity, made some lower lows on some significant time frames here. On the daily, we consider this our last swing at 5,000. So I'm looking for shorts. But obviously I'm very bullish on gold, just like I'm bullish on Bitcoin, right? But that's the whole thing about trading. The whole thing about trading is you can be bullish on an asset and look to short to make money, right? So, you know, same with Bitcoin. Like, I made shorting Bitcoin. I've made over 50 grand, like, since October. So, you know, that's great. That's technically right now more than half of Bitcoin. And if I'm bullish on Bitcoin, well, now I could take that 50 grand, buy more than half of Bitcoin, and when Bitcoin goes to 500,000, I'm rolling in the dough, baby. All right, so Bitcoin is starting to get a move up from the long trade that I'm in here. Been in since the beginning of the stream. Also, silver getting a little bit of a move up here. Let's talk about silver. This is a silver trade I took on Friday live during the live stream. Now, let's check out silver. What did silver do? Silver came down to the very important box here, guys. This box is none other than, if we take the fib from the low to the high, it's the Fibonacci golden pocket. We're literally bouncing from the 618. Also, if we go to our weekly time frame, we have a weekly order block right here. All right. What is a order block? Well, an order block, put quite simply, is this. When you see a whole bunch of candles that are one color in one direction, blue, for example. I hope you're not using green and red candles, guys. Green and red lowers your testosterone. The purple and blue, that's 1100 tests, baby, all natural. All right. When you see in the middle of this candle pattern of all the same color, an anomaly, like in this case, this purple candle that comes out of nowhere, that's an order block. All right. That's going to be a key zone of support if it's below you, a key zone of resistance if it's above you. Right. So we have very good confluence here. We've got ourselves the Fibonacci golden pocket, which we are literally bouncing from, like, to the dollar. We've got ourselves that weekly order block. And, I lost my music there for a second. I had no music this whole time. That's crazy, man. I lost my music there. Isn't that crazy? Guys, make sure to smash up the likes. Make sure to smash up the likes. Yeah, so this is where we're currently bouncing from right now on gold. Yeah, we got some smooth jazz in the background today. I know a lot of people hate smooth jazz, but I love smooth jazz, man. I love smooth jazz so much. I really do. People say, oh, it's elevator music. I can't take it. I can't take that elevator music. Right? But man, it's so dang smooth. It is smooth. Let's see. Velvet Cigar, that's a good track. That's a good track too. That's a good track too. People hate elevator music. You know what? seriously, I would say this. If you have stress in your life, high cortisol, trouble sleeping, all right, listen to smooth jazz. Just more in your life. It will make a difference. I promise you. All right. Okay, so the thing with silver, we're getting the bounce. This is why I took the long trade on Friday. All right, this is why I took that long on Friday. If you want to go back and watch it, go watch my live stream from Friday. But here's the deal. It's pretty much the same as gold. We do need to be prepared for a back test. Now, $100 silver, just like the $5,000 gold, this can be very key. We have ourselves our Fibonacci golden pocket, our 50% retrace, and let's take a look at all the volume that's traded here. Wow, the majority of the volume is right where we're at now. Man, this is crazy. Okay, so silver has had a much different move up than gold, where the majority of the silver volume is actually below $100. It's actually between $93,000 and $96,000. I think that $100 target looks really nice, though. Again, we do have a daily order block right there at $103,000. Confluence with the Fibonacci golden pocket. So I would be aware of a back test from here, but also I would be aware of coming down, just like we're looking for gold to get a little bit of a dip lower here. I would be looking at silver here too. For potentially next week, if we're going to get a move up next week, I like this low right here at 73.6. All right, it's still in the weekly order block. It's still in the golden pocket. It would be a really nice way to come down, take a little bit of liquidity from this higher low without making a lower low, and just kind of dip into here and get a move to the upside. All right. Now on the 4-hour time frame as well, we have a pretty oversold momentum wave. Now, historically speaking, these oversold momentum waves on the 4-hour, they do give us some pretty big moves to the upside. The last time we saw was Friday, November 21st. All right. That was the last time we had a momentum wave kind of this oversold. Now, the environment was obviously very, very different back then. So I'm not just saying to long the green dot, but I am saying I'm going to personally be looking for some upside, potential upside. Let me be clear. Potential upside. If I see a bullish setup, just coming to fill the wick with some bullish divergence and then come back inside that wick, right? You fill the wick, you take the low slightly, you come back inside. On your lower time frames, you got yourself some bullish divergences, right? The 1-hour time frame starting to get money flow tick back up, starting to get momentum tick back up, right? If we don't see that, then there's no long to take, all right? Please be aware that when we are doing our planning for trades, we are trading if-then scenarios, right? If we see certain things at certain levels, then we can take a trade. And if not, then we don't take a trade, all right? And again, this is all stuff I talk about in the free course, all right? I highly recommend you check out the risk management session. I highly recommend you check out the how to make a plan from a blank chart session. This is the one people watch the least, all right? This is the one people watch the least. People, you know what's funny? Most people don't actually care about making money when it comes to trading YouTube. They either want to see people with their fancy cars and penthouses talk about a day in the life of a day trader, or they want to watch other people make money or watch other people lose money. They don't actually want to learn themselves. These videos here are literally worth potentially endless amounts of money. I'm not even just saying that. They're free videos. If you actually use this information, it's going to put you on a path to doing this the right way, right? But people don't care about making a trading plan from a blank chart, right? People don't care about that. But this is where the bread and butter is. How to make a plan, how to use the good risk management, and then I would also, if you're not going to watch anything else, watch how to manage the open trades, all right? How to manage the open trades. If you don't watch anything else, those 3 videos, all right? So yeah, that's the deal with silver. Now, am I bullish on silver? Absolutely. Do I hold silver? Absolutely. This is key support right here on silver. So if we start to lose this zone of consolidation, guys, things do start to look pretty bleak for silver, because then it's just there's no support, right? We can come back to our weekly chart again. after that weekly order block, what else do we have here? We don't have any more support until we're coming down to like $50. And I don't want that to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying, look, this is very important support here on our weekly chart. We don't have any other supports. There's nothing else. Let's go to our daily. Even on the daily, guys, there's nothing else. There's nothing else. It's just pure like liquidity grab territory, right? Until we come back to our next support, it's going to be like $55. So be aware this coming week. I would definitely, I'm going to be looking for shorts on silver. I'm going to be looking for a move up and then potentially looking to take that down to 50K. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying I would be looking for that move. And again, if you're here to trade these markets, like volatility is your friend, you have to approach these trades as, you know, look for the good setup, take the good setup when it comes, make sure you lock in a profit on your good trades, and then let it run, right? Because it could turn into a swing, right? So that's kind of my outlook right now. Bitcoin, gold, silver. Make sure to smash up the likes, guys. How long would I say it takes to complete the free course? Well, it depends on you. It depends on you. How much time do you have? I'd say at least 18 hours. Each video is probably about an hour, maybe less than that, maybe 15 hours or so. And if you're totally new, I would watch it more than once. And, yeah, like, if you're totally new, I would watch it more than once. You bought silver at all-time high, should you hold? Well, here's the thing. I cannot answer that question for you. That's a very difficult question to answer. Because I don't know your plan. Like, I don't know your specific plan. I don't know your specific situation. The one thing I would say is this. Are you bullish on silver in the long term? Did you buy physical silver? Because I'm the kind of person when it comes to buying physical silver, or, you know, I hold silver in, like, you can hold silver in there are banks out there that deal in precious metals. Like, you can open a bank account where every dollar you deposit is backed by physical silver in a box in that institution for you, right? I'm big into doing stuff like that. I personally am always stacking silver, whether it be, and gold, whether it be different accounts that are backed by gold and silver, stuff like that, primarily. And I don't really care about the price of silver. Now, personally, I haven't been buying silver at these high prices. But I'm bullish on silver as a preservation of purchasing power. And I do think if you're holding the silver for the sake of having an asset that you know in general is not going to inflate, then yeah, I would hold it. But if you bought that silver to make money, I don't know. I cannot answer that question for you. Because next month, silver could be at $150 an ounce, or it could be back at 50. So it's really difficult to answer that kind of question. But you need to ask yourself, why did you buy that silver in the first place? Were you trying to make money quick? If you were trying to make money quick, then I would highly recommend that you check out the free trading course and learn about trading, okay? Because if you bought and you FOMO'd into silver because it was pumping, that is the rookie mistake that we all make in the beginning. And this is now your entry into the markets, right? Now is your time to learn about the markets and how they work. And if you actually take the time to learn, then this is going to be something that helps you grow, right? We got to give a major shout out to some super chats in the house, guys. Shout out to my man, Arturdis, who says, what's your thoughts on Crypto Faces spider lines? Well, you know, Crypto Faces spider lines, they do really work. That's all I can say. I personally don't use them because there's only so much I can put on my chart, right? Shout out to Nicholas DC8. Both gold and silver bounced from Naked Weekly POCs, brother. Gold from previous week, silver from 3 weeks ago. That's cool, man. Naked Weeklies, huh? Let's check that out. I'm pretty sure I had that on my chart as well. Let me see here. Let me put on my personal silver chart. Did I have that on the chart? Yep, there you go. Yeah, you're right. So silver bounced from a Naked Weekly point of control It was also a monthly point of control and a daily level. And we do, just below, have a weekly, another naked weekly point of control. Yeah, so same deal with silver. Like, this is just some added confluence to the idea of we fill the wick and we come back in and we have a potential long on silver, right? But yeah, gold also bounced from, I don't know if I have that level on the chart. Do I have that level on the chart? No, I don't. I don't. Yeah, but I'm sure we did bounce from a naked weekly. Let's see, let's check out the weekly chart here. Hang on, it's gotta load, it's gotta load, it's gotta load. Huh. Oh, I can't. Well, oh, hang on. Put it on bar. There we go. Let's see, where was that naked weekly POC? Wow, so I actually, it looks like we got a little front run of that naked weekly on gold. But whatever. Close enough, right? Close enough, close enough, close enough. Thank you so much for the super chat. Just the word purple sounds gay, Spicy Noodle? Come on, man. Purple's not gay. I love purple. In fact, you know what I just got? I know this has nothing to do with trading, but I got this. Got myself one of these, man. I got myself one of these beauties. You know, it's funny. At home, I have a blue Les Paul, and I have a purple EC1000 Deluxe. And, man, I love purple and I love blue. Here's the thing. Purple and blue, they're so soothing to the central nervous system. They are so soothing to the central nervous system. All right? Oh, you were charting futures. Okay. Shout out to Byron. He says, JP Morgan has apparently closed all of their short positions on silver. That's interesting. That is so interesting. All right. Shout out to my man in the house, 5280 Viking. He says, I got liquidated so hard, brother. I need to learn so I can come back from this. Well, look, you can come back from this. Absolutely, 100%. You can. And yeah, it's all about learning, right? It's all about learning and doing this properly, right? Getting a system that you know works. There's a million different systems out there, okay? And I would say this, if you end up not being the kind of trader that I am, you could still value from watching the free course, because there are certain principles that apply across the board no matter what, which include the risk management and the planning, right? Those two things, no matter what style of trading you have, those are key no matter what, you know? Monero's been an interesting chart. Yeah, Monero's pumping. I do hold quite a bit of Monero. Yeah, it's a beautiful guitar, right? Back in my guitar days, I always wanted one of those guitars. Where is that guitar? I always wanted one of these. I never had one. I had a red one. I had many LTD Deluxe guitars, but I could never find one of these. And the other day, I randomly went to a guitar center to get some, to get a tuner. Just to get a tuner for my acoustic, right? And I saw one of these things there, and I said, man, I'm getting that. I'm getting that. So I did. And I love it. I have a lot of work to do on it, because it's, whatchamacall. You know, I used to play with like some low tuning. It's got like those stock strings on it, right? So they're like 9s. I got to put 12s on it and like lower it down to like drop C or drop B or whatever. Just the action, just the intonation, all that. Shout out to my man. He says, I'm not defeated. I'm fueled by this loss. I'm not a quitter. Well, God bless you, man. May the Lord bless you. Look, it's the Lord who gives us the power to acquire wealth. And, you know, I am confident that anyone who actually applies the information will be able to be successful. All right. Buy hard assets, says Snowbirdie111. Yeah, hard assets for sure are always a great buy. You know? You're surprised I didn't pick up a 7-string? Look, I'm not a 7-string kind of guy. To be honest with you. I'm not a 7-string kind of guy. So, I always like the 6-string. You know? Money flow on the 1 hour, Jason. Alright, so let's... I think we're talking about Bitcoin here on the 1 hour. What about it? It's coming up slightly. My view on Bitcoin right now is that we either come up to take the liquidity at 79.3 or get a back test of 81K, the support resistance flip at 81K, before making another low. Alright, the only way I'm going to change my mind on this is if we make a higher high, reclaim our key 85, and then I would look for a long, right? We have to change the market structure. Until that, I'm expecting a lower high to come in, and then I would expect a lower low. It's just now, because it's the weekend. Let's also take a look at the CME futures chart here, guys, which is going to open up in a few hours. Friday candle, 84.5. 84.5 Friday close. All right, which does mean 84.5. Wow. Yeah, so that means we could potentially come and fill that gap. That's going to be a very key level. 84.5. Man, that's going to be... Oh my goodness. That is going to be such a key level right now. Let's go ahead and pull the volume of this range. I'm very curious to see. Yeah, guys. So 84.5 CME gap. Right here. Value area low. Let's pull a fib from high to low right now. Let's pull a fib from this last swing. Okay, so we pull a Fibonacci from the last major swing high that we had here at around 91,000. That's going to be our local golden pocket. We have a golden pocket of 786, value area low, 2 value area lows, and a CME gap. So yeah, make sure you guys have on your charts for tomorrow this as a key resistance, definitely. As long as we are in the downtrend of making lower lows and lower highs from the short setup given in the Casper Crew VIP Discord at jasoncaspertrading.com. This is going to be a very important resistance. 84.5 is going to be very, very important for show. Guys, WTF was this cycle? This was actually a pretty good cycle, you know? I know some people need post-cycle therapy, but how could you say that this was a bad... Now, for altcoins, yes. For Bitcoin, this was an excellent cycle. You know? I do think for Bitcoin, this is an excellent cycle. Now, you know, I did just so happen to long the exact bottom, you know, at 15,594. From the trade setup given in advance in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. And I did just so happen to sell the top and short the top from the setup given in real time in the Casper Crew VIP Discord at $125,000. But the real reason why this cycle was not bad is because, I mean, let's just be objective. We had, from the beginning of the bull market, which was in 2023, we have had a move up of, you know, 675%. I mean, that is amazing. 675%. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, each cycle is going to have diminishing returns. You know, obviously in the 2020 cycle, that was the last real moneymaker. You know, 2,000%. And then the time before that, this was a crazy moneymaker here, giving us about, you know, 10,000%. Sheesh. 10,000 to 2,000 to 6 to 700. It's about a third. Man. Yeah, it's about a third less each time. Man, I hope that doesn't continue, to be honest. But yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good bull run, honestly. Like I do think, and look, it could not be over. You know, maybe we do bottom out here. Maybe it's a big old fake out here, you know, and we just pump right up. Maybe we do. But look, here's something sad. Here's something sad about crypto that I think we need to just come to terms with, which is crypto is not what it used to be, okay? Now that big institutional money is involved, it's not what it used to be. When it was very, very new, the hype, the excitement, the concept of this kid in their mom's basement becoming a millionaire overnight because of Bitcoin and Ethereum and other strange assets that don't make any sense. I feel like that vibe is kind of over. I feel like crypto is going to start trading like a normal asset class with less volatility, sadly. But I do think it's going to be similar to, it is going to continue to go up. It's going to continue to go up. But we're not going to see like thousands and thousands of % gains per cycle anymore. Which is sad. Right? It is sad. But that's, you know, I was in disbelief when ETH did not hit 5,500. And when a lot of alts didn't even make new all-time highs. That was a pretty hard pill for me to swallow. Not gonna lie. As far as Bitcoin goes, however, I feel like I timed that cycle perfectly. I'm very happy with my Bitcoin play in the past 5 years. I play that. Praise God. Praise God. All glory to the Lord. Thank you, Jesus, for giving me wisdom in timing that Bitcoin cycle. Why does it matter if Bitcoin left a gap? Silver left a gap in 1980. That was filled in 2010. I can't wait that much. Yeah, let's hope it doesn't take 30 years. Shout out to Darren. He says that the altcoins against Bitcoin is in a falling wedge. Big altcoin pump in the fall. Yeah, I'm looking at the summer fall for the beginning of big pumpage, as we say in my language. Mucho pumpage. Have I ever listened to a Christian opposed to hardcore? Yeah, I have. Alts are so bad, LL. Yeah, there was a lot in the low. Am I still short from 125k? Sadly, Ben, no. Sadly, I accidentally added to that position. And sadly, I did close it out for $36,000. I wanted to keep it open. So this is my last chance to have a significant short, I think. From 97k. But am I buying the dip on silver? No, I don't have any real plans to buy silver anytime soon right now. I'm just kind of waiting for the dust to settle and see what happens with silver. If we start to form a range, I will buy silver, spot silver, at the lows of that range, honestly. But yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to head out. I hope everyone has a very blessed week this week. In Jesus' name, may the Lord bless you. May he bless your families. Make sure to like, subscribe, click the bell, and I will see you guys, Lord willing, tomorrow. Peace.